Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio with me, Astrologer Shelley Overton. Each week we go over the planetary positions, discuss astrology, and take callers' questions. If you would like to call in and get a reading, you can call 347-994-3365. Call in early as the lines fill up. Welcome to the October 2nd, 2018 edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I'm going to cross my fingers that you can hear me right now because I have had a horrendous time the last few weeks, not just the last couple weeks, the last few weeks, of being heard, and it seems to be a problem with the interface on Blog Talk. So I'm going to see if anyone is in the chat room. Hopefully you all can hear me. Anyway, what I need to do is record something that I play when I can't get on so people know. Anyway, my name is Shelley Overton, like I said, and it is an interesting morning here in Orlando. It's been raining already, and it was sunny at the same time, and it's sunny now, but everything is wet. So I know there's a rainbow out there somewhere, and that's actually kind of a nice way of looking at life, don't you think? Anyway, so this week we are going to dig into what's been going on lately. We're going to look at Pluto, which just turned direct, and Venus goes retrograde the end of the week. So it's going to be an interesting upcoming week, needless to say. And anybody who has been watching news knows that that's also the case nationally if you're in Florida, or if you're not in Florida, if you're in the U.S. So, yeah, I'm hoping you can all hear me. If you can hear me, go into the chat room and let me know you can hear me, because otherwise, I can't tell people if you can't hear me, go in the chat room, because they can't hear me. So anyway, okay, so we just had Pluto go direct, and I'm so excited for that. I was very happy to see that happen. Pluto is my ruling planet of my ascendant, my moon, and my Neptune all in Scorpio. So it went direct at 10:03 p.m. Sunday afternoon, or Sunday evening, I guess it would be. And then, oh my goodness, I have like a bit of heavy the weather, but I'm a little like, woo. Anyway, I don't know what's going on. But I can tell you astrologically what's going on. What's going on is there is a grand trine between the moon at 12 degrees Cancer, Venus at 10 degrees Scorpio, and Neptune at 14 Pisces retrograde. So guess what? All three relate to emotions. So it is a very significant day for desires, emotions, dreams, romance, love, all those good things, money. I mean, I know yesterday the market was going up a little bit, and that was, I guess, because they signed a trade agreement with Canada and Mexico, and that would be in alignment with what's going on astrologically, because the moon in Cancer, so Cancer is a sign that needs security, and it wants to feel really secure, and that usually means through money or having finances taken care of. And that's probably why they like to associate with Capricorn, because Capricorn is very bent on having a career and being very solidly responsible in whatever career they do have. And so, the opposite signs will give you something that you don't necessarily have, or the projected side of you that you have rejected. So it means that the opposites in the zodiac each give each other what they have kind of denied themselves, or the part of themselves they don't particularly want to express. And remember, we have all planets and signs in our charts. And even if we have a house with no planets in it, it means that when the planets transit that area, it triggers things. But when no planets are transiting, they still have a rulership through a planet. Say, I'm looking at the sky right now, and from 25 degrees through 28 Gemini, that's the seventh house in the current chart. There are no planets in that segment of sky, but it means that Taurus rules marriage and partnership for anyone born at this moment in this city. So that would be an energy that every time Venus does something different or trines or connects to another planet, we're feeling it in our romantic sector. So it isn't like nothing happens. It's just a little more subtle, and you would have to pay attention. So Venus in Scorpio means that we have a desire towards something. It's our feminine nature. And so that desire, oh goodness, hang on. Oh, there it is. Okay. So the feminine desire is part of Venus, and she's talking to the moon today. So the two of them are very connected about holding up in the house. Actually, all three of the water signs have their side that is hidden, and that's why it is intuitive. It's very covert from the outside exterior external world, and it is our compass. It is our emotional compass that comes out. And so Venus in Scorpio is about the value as a woman. Now, remember, Venus is about to retrograde, and she stays retrograde through November 16th, but she turns direct in that time. And so she gets back into Libra, and I'll tell you, she retrogrades at 10 degrees Scorpio, and then she gets back to Libra the first day of November, and then she stays there until when is it? 3rd of December. And so she's going back into Libra, back into relationships, back into balance, back into understanding what we just went through. Since we're already in the shadow period and we see her turning retrograde, I would say that we're probably going to see Christina Blasey Ford end up coming back for another hearing during the retrograde period. And I really don't think that whole thing is going to be over until after after the direct movement. So should be interesting. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to really quick ask a caller if they can hear me, because nobody's in the chat room. I mean, I've had such an issue the last couple of weeks. So 202, how are you? Are you there? 202? Okay, I can't hear them. So we'll put her back on hold. Oh, there she just came in at the last second. Are you there?
Yeah, that works.
Hi.
Yep.
Hi, I just wanted to know, can you hear me? I was just checking in real quick. I will get to you in a little bit, but can you hear the program?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, good, because I've been having trouble the last couple of weeks, so I just want to make sure. I'll get to you right after the break, okay?
Okay.
Thanks. Oh, wonderful. That makes me feel so good. Anyway, so Neptune at 14 of Pisces retrograde. So Neptune's acting very clear-minded and clarifying right now, not as diluted as, and that's kind of a harsh word, I think, for Neptune direct, but Neptune direct wants to see the best of people. And when Neptune's direct, it can be not in the material world, because Neptune rules the oceans. It rules the ethereal world and esoterica. And so having Neptune retrograde, it snaps it out of its illusions and its idealized view of things, and becomes very much more grounded and understanding of true nature. And it isn't that they don't understand true nature, or people influenced by Pisces or Pisces suns. It's just that the dream world is much more pleasing and pleasant to live in than the material world. I think we can all agree on that right now. So Neptune retrograde makes us a lot more practical and clear-minded. So that meaning in trying to both Venus and the moon today, so it's mothers and sisters, what it's doing is it's bringing the issues, as an example, the whole hearing and confirmation, it's bringing women into the fore, and we are associating them with mothers and sisters and female friends. So everyone knows someone who's gone through something, and that's what this energy is really expressing, that we are aware now of what it takes to navigate the world as a woman. And I don't know if I've told you this completely, but I mean, I do a lot of art. I kind of have two careers. I have an art career and I have an astrology career. And part of that because I have a strong connection to Uranus, the planet of multiple careers, when its Saturn is in Aquarius, and that's where my right now. So Saturn in Aquarius rules astrology, but it also rules multiple streams of income or multiple careers. And naturally, my Saturn is at 0 Pisces, which rules art. So I got lucky and I have a career split between art and astrology. And I was doing a mural this week, and there were a bunch of, workers working on this house. It was a very large house. It's a 17,000 square foot house. This is not 100, it is 1,000. So I'm doing some murals in the garage, which is a lot. They have the man who owns it. He owns the company that's actually building it. It's a construction company for apartment buildings, and this building is the size of an apartment complex. So I'm doing murals in the garage, which holds 18 cars. And the men who are working there, they're kind of old school guys, they're Southern, and one even called himself a redneck yesterday. And he was talking to me. I was sitting out back by the pool, and I've dealt with these kind of men most of my life as, in career. And so I kind of understand that dynamic. Like, it's pretty much, if you're a woman in their world, you're kind of open to those little hits, and they're hitting on you, and they're saying something to your appearance, and it's always a thing. So I was sitting out by the pool yesterday. They were, getting the pool ready, and I just sensed that, they said that I could go in the pool, and I was just like, yeah, I could go in. I know why you want me to go in, but I won't say it. Anyway, I don't even know why I brought it up, but it just kind of illustrates that our society is still, in a lot of ways, we have a long way to go when it comes to dealing with women. And anyway, so yeah, we've got a lot of awareness. And the interesting thing, though, was when I was thinking about what they probably were thinking if I were in the water in my clothes, they didn't say it, which I have to give them kudos, because they're kind of, they tease each other a lot, and they have said a few racist comments in the course of my time there, and I just don't anyway. So we have a lot of awareness right now about these issues. We have Jupiter at 22 Scorpio, and Jupiter in Scorpio and Venus in Scorpio, both of them are aware of the darker side of life, but having Venus there means that it's kind of geared towards women, that's the sexy underside, the hidden side that is coming out, because Jupiter wants to say, hey, did you see this over here? Look at this. And it doesn't tend to keep it covert for very long. So the one planet going through the sign that is about darkness and the hidden and the covert is the one that's going to bring it out. And it will absolutely bring it out when it goes into Sagittarius in December. So let me see when that is. That is the 9th of November. November, not December. Anyway, so when it gets in there, and even a week before, so look for the first day of November. Actually, Halloween weekend is going to be a really big weekend astrologically, and approaching that Jupiter moving into different signs. So I'll just give you a real quick eyeball of that. So the 24th is a full moon in Taurus, and then that weekend we're going to have Jupiter conjunct Mercury. We have Mercury entering Sagittarius. We have Venus and Uranus opposition. We have Mercury in conjunct Uranus, which is going to be big about unexpected news and definitely technology. Back up your computers before the 31st. And then we have Venus entering Libra. So it's kind of rock and roll in time. That's not even all of it. It's just kind of a quick look at what's going to happen on Halloween weekend. Then right after, what did they say, November 1st, Jupiter trines Chiron. Oh, okay, so I don't see anything entering that day. So it must be just the 9th. Anyway, so we've a lot coming up in that 1 week because Jupiter going into Sagittarius is going to expand our awareness of everything that's been covert, but it's going to be probably sexual in nature. It's going to make us aware of what we need to learn, and teachers of travel, of new and alternative, well, I say alternative music, but it's really not alternative music per se. Probably Venus gets to Aquarius, we're going to have some really interesting new music come out, but Mars is in Aquarius right now, and so that can also drive us towards the unusual. But Mars and Venus are still squaring, so this just is illustrated so well by the hearings going on right now for the Supreme Judge. So anyway, Venus squaring Mars. Mars in Aquarius wants to be very logical about things and detaches from emotion, where Venus is completely immersed in emotion right now, as is the moon, as is Neptune, and it's kind of, that is the hidden side of life right now, the emotional connection, the sympathy, empathy we have towards people is truly being brought out. And then interestingly, I'm looking at the chart right now, and there's a really interesting aspect going on. When there's a trine, you've got a trine in the chart, and then from the moon back to Saturn and the moon back to Pluto is an opposition right now, and the moon falls right between the two. So Saturn's at 3 degrees Capricorn and Pluto's at 18 degrees Capricorn, and the moon is opposing both of those, dead center. So having the moon as part of this grand trine in water with both Saturn and Pluto in opposition makes this really interesting kind of prism effect with the angles. So it's kind of like Pink Floyd's The Wall. Not The Wall. Which one was it? Dark Side of the Moon, where it's a rainbow prism coming out of a triangle, or like a rainbow coming out of a prism. Anyway, that energy is coming out, and it means that we're drawing into the trine this energy of Saturn, which is authority, structure, and also the energy of Pluto, which is major change. So when you look at aspects as the planets circle and circle and circle, they occasionally, and more lately, come into formations that significantly change the mindset of humanity. This is one of those times. It is going to be this way for the next 7 years. We have, like I've said, almost every show, we've got these aspects coming up with Pluto and Saturn joining together in about a year and 3 months. And then we have Saturn moving into Aquarius, and then we have Pluto moving into Aquarius in 2024. So all these energies are really awakening us as a collective. So having Saturn opposing the moon today, and it's just, for a few hours, and then of course the moon will move on to other things. But currently, it's about home and hearth versus authority and career. Then we have the moon squaring both the sun and Mercury today. Mercury will turn retrograde just after Venus goes retrograde. Let me see when that is real quick here. Going old school today. I got my book out. So it's going to be November 17th-ish. This is the table. I'm not going by the date in the pages of the calendar, just the date. So the 17th of November, we have Mercury retrograde, and Venus, of course, will be retrogrades. So the last 2 retrogrades of the year, and bless the last week of the year has no retrogrades. We have one beautiful week in there. I'm thinking Jupiter, possibly. I don't have that up here. Let me look real quick for you and tell you when the next retrograde in 2019 hits. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Wow, it doesn't. I don't even see one for January. Could it be? Because retrograde means we have to go back over the old energy, or not the old energy per se, but the energy we just went over. And so it looks like we're pretty clear for early 2019. Wow, we got a lot of retrogrades out of the way this year. And yeah, I don't see any, but that doesn't, oh, there's one. Mercury retrogrades in March. That might be the first one. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about Pluto. So Pluto, wow, Pluto is pretty intense as a planet. Pluto brings up the psychology of what goes on in our world. He shifts and changes structures and ideas and ideology. And that means that while he's in Capricorn, he's touching on the fears of those Capricorn issues. So I've got a friend who grapples with OCD Capricorn. I have another friend, she's a Gemini. I have another friend, the Capricorn, who also has OCD, but I don't think she necessarily recognizes it day to day. It's not like, oh yes, all my need to things a certain way is my OCD. It's just who she is, and it's part of her personality. But occasionally, those energies frustrate me, and I have to back off a little bit. But I can tell you right now, the psychological issues are coming out hot and heavy, and I want to say that there are themes associated with this energy. And the themes can be whatever comes back to you more than once. So if you notice something happening repetitively, like, okay, I'll tell you, I had an accident in February, a car accident. And when I had this car accident, I noticed that it was a similar situation to others I've had throughout my life. And that is, I'm alone in the car, so there are no witnesses. There's another person who is a man in the other vehicle. I talk to the police officer with the other person in the same vicinity, and my point of view is disregarded, and I end up getting the ticket when it was clearly either both faults or the other person's. And I know it, but they don't see it. So this is kind of a repetitive thing that happens for me. And Pluto is in my house of communications and travel, short distance travel, which is what this was. It was just to the other side of town. So something like that, when you go, wait a minute, there's a pattern here. What does this mean? Everything is a reflection of us. That's what the psychology is all about. It's a projection. We're projecting out our issues so that we can see them. It seems very real, and it is real. I mean, events happen, pain hurts, but in a psychological sense, in an ideological sense, in a sense, we are seeing things that are showing a side of ourselves that we have not owned. And so in changing that karma and changing the events that we continually draw back to ourselves, then we have to really look within and understand what the symbology is. And quite honestly, it happens to me, it seems to be a situation where there's growth happening in my life, and I feel frustrated or restricted, constricted somehow. And so, that's what's going on with Capricorn, because Capricorn is, they call it the the taskmaster. I think it's kind of a restrictor personally. And part of the reason is because you need to see what you have to own about your life, which is Capricorn's part of this whole passion play. Pluto's is to show you how your belief systems and mindset give you what you get. And Saturn is to make you own it. So when Saturn and Pluto join, and Saturn rules authority, it rules governments, it rules corporations, it rules authority and paternalism. We're going to be changing that. It's just the way it's going to be. And so when Pluto and Saturn join up, which is, I believe, January of 2020, look for fireworks because, of course, that is another election year, but it is also a time when people are not willing anymore to let things slide. We are awakening as a collective, and Mars in Aquarius is part of that. Mars is right now triggering the upcoming energy in Aquarius. It is showing us how we have to have integrity in our actions, how we have to act in our own truth. And I'm seeing that as a pattern a lot right now as well, that people are not capable of doing the stressful things anymore for the same reasons, like going to work for someone they don't really want to be with as a company, or taking care of others in family in a way that they have for years and years and putting their own needs and desires aside. And this is kind of a theme that I'm seeing in a lot of readings and also in my personal life. And people are really at a break point. And I can tell you Saturn joining Pluto is really the final straw, and it is the major shift and change coming to us. So I'm just going to look and see real quick here what I don't have a 2020 ephemeris in front of me. I just have the December 2019. So December 2019, Saturn is at 21 Capricorn, and Pluto is at 22. So actually, I think we'll get a taste of it. Let's see, 18. No, they don't join until 22, which is going to happen probably in January. Again, I don't have a 2020 ephemeris right here, but it's pretty much, I've looked it up a few times, and I seem to remember January of 2020 is when the two come together. If not March, it will be early 2020. And that is the time when whatever issues you have now that you're dealing with that are upsetting you and frustrating, and at the break point, those are going to culminate in an ending. And the ending is a long time coming, and it is there so that you can move on. And Saturn right after that will move forward into Aquarius. And I can tell you when Saturn goes past Pluto, which again, Pluto's slower, Saturn's quicker. When Saturn gets past Pluto, Saturn's kind of like, I don't have to answer to anyone. I'm going to do my own thing. And I can guarantee you when that happens, that's when everyone in society is going to kind of come into that world where they're just going to do what's best for them. They're not going to be as available for you. They're going to end up, just saying, no, this is not good for me. It's toxic for me. It's uncomfortable. And I have to move on. And so that's kind of the final break point. And also Jupiter for the next year, Sagittarius, is about travel and transportation and could very well mean a move. And when Jupiter hits Capricorn, that's major shift around careers. And it wouldn't surprise me. Well, anytime Jupiter changes signs, depending on what your rising sign is, you're going to see a shift. And it could very well bring opportunities far away. So we are moving towards globalism, and that's part of it. All these planets in last degrees of the zodiac, Jupiter moving from Scorpio through to Pisces and back into Aries, and then Saturn, Pluto. Right now Mars is there. Mars goes into Pisces. I think we talked about this last week at the end of October. Let me see. No, early November, mid-November, on the 16th of November. So, we have about 6 weeks of Mars in Aquarius, and I personally am very happy it's there. I really love the energy. I find it very refreshing. And I guess that's because I have Uranus close to my Sun in my chart, and it's right near my Pluto, and it's right near my Mercury. So it makes me mentally feel really clear and really free. But as Mars gets later on, it's going to hit my Saturn. That should be really interesting. It's probably going to be a time of extreme busyness, which I'm kind of already feeling at this point, honestly. I have had a lot of years of going, well, if I really am successful, what am I going to do if it all hits me at the same time? Well, that time's here because it's all kind of coming in right now. It's like everybody wants to do stuff with me, and I'm very excited about that. So on that note, I'm just going to let you know that I am working on an app, and I'm very excited. I will tell you more about it. It's still probably a few months. Well, it was supposed to be coming out now, but it's put off a little bit, and it'll be about 2 more months of testing. So I'm very excited. I'll tell you more about it when the time comes, but it's very unique, and it's going to be really fun, and I hope you all will sign up when I get it. So when I release it. And then I do still have my book. I haven't heard from any publishers, so I honestly have not had any time to get anything going with that as far as getting it out to the public, but that is going to rise to the top of the to-do list here before Christmas. So anyway, let's just take a quick break here, and I hope I answered a few questions about what's going on in the sky. Next week we'll probably do, I was going to say a Mercury retrograde show, but probably not quite yet. So we'll have to figure out what we're going to do next week. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. So we're going to take a quick break. Let's see, I got to take that my happy place off because I am not doing that anymore. And I'm going to tell you again this week because last week was kind of a funky show. Oh, and I wanted to tell you, if you did not hear the first half of last week, I did re-record it later, and so it is up now, the information. I put that up, so I just want to let you know. And we'll go to a quick break and come and take calls. And welcome back. You are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. with me, Shelley Overton. I am an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. If you would like a private reading with me, you can get me at angeliczodiac.com or Astrologer Angel, at least for the time being. And also, you can catch me on Instagram at angeliczodiac1. I do have another Instagram. I just haven't looked up how to get back into it. I lost the password, and so then I'll change it over to that one. But for now, that's how you can get me, and I'm on Facebook. You can also book through Facebook, and if you would like to look at my art, you can go to ShelleyOverton.com. That's SHELLEY Overton.com. We had one lady who was in the chat room last week, and I want to say the chat room is open right now, so if you have any interest in talking to other people from the show, that's open. But Crystal Bowles, Gretna, I believe her name is, she was in the chat room. And last week she was there, but I didn't get around to doing her chart. And she had a quick question before we take callers. And her question is she, let's see here, I am trying to publish some astrology tools. What do you see for me in publishing? So astrology is Uranus, and it's also Aquarius. She has Aquarius in her house of work, and Mars right now, I was going to call you Crystal Bowles, so Gretna. So right now, Mars is on your Chiron. So that means it's activating the sense of wounding around doing your own thing in the workplace. And so you're probably wanting to do it, but there may be a holdback just because that wounding is right there and there's a detachment of some sort. Again, it's an emotional detachment. So that may mean that you're feeling like you can't find your soul group because Aquarius rules the 11th house, and that's my house for soul groups and people who share like mind around career and life purpose. And so you're finding that there's someone who maybe either someone felt that it was good and then bailed on you, or it's a wounding around someone who is maybe someone that you thought of as a friend within the workplace, with the work environment. That's being triggered right now. It is somewhat of a faded energy, and interestingly, Mars is directly opposite to the same degree your Uranus. Uranus for you is at 6 degrees Leo, and it's in the 12th house. So there's a strong energy around entrepreneurship around children. So if this app has something to do with kids or, let's see, creativity and teaching, that would be a really good thing. And then let's see what else. A partner, and that's interesting. So your house of work is ruled by Virgo, which is the sign of the worker in the zodiac, and also Libra, which is of course, the sign that wants to partner with someone. So for you, you've got Virgo Mercury at 28 degrees retrograde, and so having Mercury in Virgo, the ruling planet, Mercury rules Virgo, is you think a lot about work. You have a lot of responsibility around work, and you're kind of a loner when it comes to earning money, but definitely shows that you should be partnered up with someone else, and that that would be a more comfortable way for you to kind of spread the responsibility and enjoy earning a living that way. So if you can, hoping that your tools, maybe you have someone to help you. Definitely Mars doesn't want to be told what to do, but again, in Aquarius, it's about groups of people who have like minds. So it's about finding other people who share your vision. And that's pretty much a big thing going on, big lesson right now. I don't know if it's a lesson, it's a theme. And then again, Uranus, which rules astrology, is in Taurus. It's retrograde right now. And so actually, let me see how long it's retrograde for. If you hold on just a second, I know it's kind of an odd thing for me to be in the reading part of the show, but talking to myself still. So hang on one second. So yeah, Uranus goes direct mid-January. And so when Uranus goes direct, it'll be a better time to do something with astrology per se, like in Taurus. I would say if you're going to do anything released quickly, I would do it soon before Uranus goes back into Aries. as opposed to during Aries. Aries is self-promotion. So right now it's about retail. It's about the money aspect of it. But when it goes back into Aries, Aries is about promotion. So that would be a time that you could potentially redo some type of self-promotion that you may have been wanting to do. And that happens November 6th. So from now until November 6th, it's about the retail aspect of it. So I don't know if what you have is particularly about retail. But anyway, so I'm just going to read what her answer is. She said, funny with my crystal bowl, I'm always wanting to work more with some of them, whether it is a healer or a crystal bowl player. It's true, a fellow bowl player. And you know what? I'm telling you, crystal bowls are amazing. I have my eye on one. It's really big, and I'm Buddhist, so I ring the bell every day, and I would just love to have a beautiful resonant crystal bowl to do that. Anyway, I hope that helps you. Let's take 202. Hi, 202. How are you?
Hey, Shelley. I'm hanging in there. It's Kay. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm sorry, it's Kate, you said?
Kay.
Okay, I'm sorry, Kay. Hi, Kay. It's good.
Hey.
I'm good. What's going on in your world now?
I resonated very much with what you were saying, I guess, when Saturn is hitting Pluto, how we just, like, ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Pretty much.
And I definitely feel that with work right now, and I just want to know what to see. And then I had a Venus retrograde, just a general question, but I just want to know what you see. There's a lot of tension and stress in the day-to-day.
Okay, I'm just going to put an aside in here. Remember I was talking about the Grand Trine in water? It's pouring out right now, so it's really hitting me here. So you've got the Grand Trine in water hitting your 11th house. That's where your Venus is. And then your Neptune, or transiting Neptune, which is right on your sun, and then a trine to the moon, marriage and partnership. So there's a connection, again, between travel, soul groups, could be neighbors and siblings, which is your Neptune, Pisces area of your chart, and then a partner. So it is about relationships right now in that regard. And then Saturn, you were talking about Venus retrograde. So the Venus retrograde there, it's going
the question I had was with Venus retrograde, so you don't even have to go like too far into it.
Okay, sure.
And then I just want to talk about what you see in terms of work. The Venus retrograde question is work too. So I want to do 2 shoots in November. It's actually reshooting something that I did before. So I don't know whether or not, like, I think that's fine, but I've heard some people say, no, it's not, even if you're redoing. So I didn't know if that would be okay.
Okay, so what's going to happen is you initiate a project, you redo what you've done, and then you finalize. That's kind of the process of a retrograde, okay? So Venus going over the shadow area is like, oh, hey, here's a project. And you may even have done something with it. Then Venus retrogrades, and then you're like, oh, I don't really like that the way it is, so I'm going to change it. And then it relates to desire and beauty and aesthetics generally, and the feminine intuitive nature. So you're going to intuit what feels better when Venus retrogrades. And if you want to take action, you can. But when Venus goes direct, it'll be a final pass over where you finalize what you truly want. And so, I mean, that's like, as an example with the book I've written, I did the rewrite during retrogrades, and then it went direct, and I finalized what I rewrote. So that's kind of that energy. And so that's, you're asking about Venus retrograde, that's what it's going to do. It's going to have you renovate, so to speak, what you've already done. Okay?
Cool. So I already did these shoots, and I'm going to do them again, so that sounds like a good scenario.
Yeah, no, I
and
don't
I'm
have
looking
any
at
problem
the
with...
first... Oh, sorry, what did you say?
As I said, I don't have any problem with that mindset of redoing something under a retrograde. It just means that you're going to change your mind about it anyway, and just know that if you do, there's a chance you could change it again when it goes direct, and then that will be the final version. So it all depends on how much effort you want to put in while it's retrograde. So if you see value in it, then go ahead and go, because that's what Venus is about. She's about value.
But do you think that it would require a reshoot? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it takes a lot to actually, like, I'm hiring someone to do it. So I didn't know if it was the type of thing where I would have to literally reshoot it after reshooting it again. or if it's just when it moves forward.
Okay, you're talking to me under a Moon, Venus, Neptune trine, and Neptune is retrograde, and it is about film, and retrograde means the same thing as the other retrogrades, means you're going to want to redo it. I guess the one thing I would say to you is if it were me, I would probably try and maybe get my ducks in a row and write down what I want to do and wait for the direct. And then once the planets go direct, because once they go direct, then you're kind of setting it in stone as opposed to playing still. If you're in the playground playing in the sand, you can come up with some great things, but when it goes direct, you want to finalize and get it done. So if you are
so I have to wait till all the way in December.
Well, you might have to. I mean, and it's okay. See, this is the thing with astrology. I tell a lot of people this is what I would do, and then kind of your court, and I can tell you when it's retrograde, things change and desire changes. So you may desire to do something different. And then when it goes direct again, you're like, why did I do that? That was a waste of time and money. So my best advice as an astrologer is, refine what you want to do under the retrograde, like write down the change of plans, like the script. And then when it goes direct, if you still feel that way, then do the reshoot.
Okay.
All right. At least you'll feel like you're doing something toward change of desire. But know that the change of desire, like, okay, let's give Aunt as an example. She listens occasionally, but I don't think she's listening now. So my aunt has been retired for a few years, and when she retired, she went to Missouri, and she wanted to live her retirement out with her husband. They lived in South Dakota all their life, moved to Missouri. About 6 months in, my uncle passed away from heart issues, and she was kind of lost, and she was there for a little while longer, spent another couple of years, and then decided to move back to South Dakota. She moved back to South Dakota under a Mars retrograde. She didn't like living in South Dakota. Mars went direct. She moved to Phoenix. I think it was Mercury maybe, went retrograde. She moved back to South Dakota. The planets changed. She goes to Texas. She's in Texas now and trying to figure out where she's going to be. I'm like, you're going to change your mind. So by the end of this year, Jupiter goes into Sag, and she'll be going probably to another city again. Anyway, that's kind of what can happen. So it's like when you go under a retrograde, it feels like the thing you want to do because you're feeling the energies, but then the energies change again, and it may not be valid. So that's the only reason I encourage you to kind of just do things that are easier to fix if you don't want to do it after the direct. Okay? But I can tell you right now, Venus is still, 3 days away from turning retrograde. So personally in my life, if I know it's coming and I'm like, it's going to be a retrograde for so long and I really want to do this, in the case of what you're trying to do with the reshoot, you can't reshoot it or redo it within 3 days. But what I try to do is set something in stone with the planet before retrograde so that when it gets back to direct and hits the point, then you're off to the races. So do you see what I say?
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Instead of
I'll
doing
be
it
patient.
when it's not the way you're ultimately going to want it to be, do it while you're feeling this and it's still direct or station, and then when it comes back there, it'll infuse it with the energy and you'll be ready to go. So.
Okay,
and then
I will do that.
Saturn,
I was like, damn, I got to wait till the holidays.
I know. Let me tell you, I as an astrologer, I feel like everything is wait. Like the change, wait. Yeah. But Saturn, Saturn's still in your first, and again, you're gonna have a direct hit on money house when Saturn joins Pluto because your money house cusp is 22 Capricorn, and that's where they join up. So it is really it's wrapping up the shifts around your sense of self and your ego and your personality changes that Saturn and Pluto have been digging in with for the last 7 or 8 years. I mean, Saturn's just been there a little bit, but Pluto's been there since, even longer than that, I'm sorry, since 15 Sagittarius, not 15 Capricorn, 15 Sagittarius. So we're talking like early 2000s. So, 2020, what did I say, 2020, 2020. That's when you're going to have that major shift around getting the money coming, like it starts to come into place for you. because that's when you're really going to make that shift with how you see yourself, and then you'll be off to the races, and you're going to start to really see the universe support you with the kind of value and kudos you're looking for. Okay?
And so it's not until then, like, I'm so ready to just ditch my day job right now. That's how bad it is here. There's all this, like, Plutonian political. Like,
right.
I mean, it's really bad. And it's like, oh, my God.
I can tell you that whatever energies you're feeling shifting and changing, this is a very intuitive time to do it. If you're feeling that, you do have Jupiter was just in positive aspect to Pluto. In the sign Pluto rules, so it's a very supportive energy. And I can tell you by the time Jupiter hits 25, which is very soon, that's Uranus in your 12th house, I would say follow your intuition. But like I said, you got about 3 days if you're going to do it. I would do it when Venus is still direct, because that's kind of the birth chart. You don't want Venus retrograde. So, yeah.
Do you see getting, like, support if I do that, or the ability to find something else?
Yeah, Jupiter on your natal Uranus in the 12th, that's understanding your own value, and it's doing something. It is also, I have to tell you, doing something for yourself, but you've got Sun and Mercury. Mercury is on your Pluto, and Sun is just in your house of career. Both are in your house of career, and they're in Libra, which is about finding a partner. Have you got someone that you could do partner work with so that you could do what you want to do?
I'm still working on it.
Because when Saturn was direct the last time before it went retrograde and then direct again in early Capricorn, it's squaring. There's my nemesis in the car out there. It's squaring Libra, and that means now, well, Saturn's kind of squaring your midheaven, which is giving you a strong desire because it's squaring the place it rules, and it's a shift. It's kind of like a break point in and of itself too. I find that squares push us to do what we drag our heels in doing. Yeah. So what I see, though, is if you're looking to have something come together, it is going to involve other people. You have to have a soul group. That's what Jupiter at the end. Jupiter is the last degree of your house of your soul group. So you're really trying to find it, and then it immediately joins the ruler of that house. So it is about finding your people. So if you haven't been going to, meetings of filmmakers, you need to do that. Go and find your soul group, the people who are interested in doing what you do. Okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
How long
Don't
does
be
it
shy.
for
Ask
my
people
midheaven? I know. It's just I'm working so much and I'm traveling, so it's like I don't really have time to attend anything. The only thing I've been doing is doing this astrology group thing. But
well, Saturn. Let me see. Hang on a second. Saturn. So it's coming up on it within 2 degrees. So retrograde 4, 5. It hits it directly on the 10th of November, and then after that, it's away from it. Okay, but it isn't technically completely away until January. But January is a significant time, and without getting into more reading for your chart, because we have a few other callers, January is pretty significant. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You're always welcome. I do 20-minute readings too. If you only want a small answer, it's a little bit of time. You can get that if you'd like. Anyway, thanks for the call. Okay, take care. Bye.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome. Okay, 703. Hi, 703. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Thanks. Have you called the show before?
Yeah, I called, I think, maybe 3-4 weeks ago.
Andrea?
Yeah.
Is it Andrea? Okay, great. What can I do for you?
Well, we were talking about some guy that I was, kind of involved with, but that's kind of over.
Mm-hmm.
He decided to go back to his ex-wife, but what can you do? But it's okay. But I have recently met another guy who, this past weekend, we've been having, really great time, and I don't know, maybe what you connect with him.
Okay. Do you know his birthday?
I do. It is March 11th. I think it's 67.
Okay. And I'm guessing you don't know what time he was born. And do you know where he was born?
No, I think Virginia. I'm not Virginia, I believe.
Okay.
I think it's originally from Virginia.
I don't even know if I know a city in Virginia. Virginia City?
I think Alexandria, because that's where originally he's from. Because I live in Ashburn, Virginia, by the airport. But yeah, he's 51. So yeah, he'll be. Yeah,
okay.
I think he's 67.
All right, let's see what the two of you have here. If I can, there's a chart for him, and let's find a chart for the two of you. Okay. I'm going to have to put a name in there because I can't see it. I mean, you can give me a name on it, but I can just put Guy. There we go.
Oh, his name is Robert.
Oh, okay. All right. Andrea. There we go. It just helps me find the chart if you call back. Okay. And also, when I put the two of you together on a chart, it's like, oh, no, which one is this? Because there's no name attached. Now I know. Okay, that's helpful. Let's see here. Get rid of that one. I've got so many wheels up here. Okay. So the two of you together, you have Neptune's in Scorpio. That means you're very deep feeling. His moon's in, your moon's in Libra. His Mars is in Scorpio, which means he's pretty sexy.
He is very sexy.
yeah. Oh, my goodness. And then, let's see. Jupiter, his Jupiter is right near your North Node, so he's here to really teach you something about yourself and to help you grow. It's kind of a fated meeting. And then, interesting, you've got a 12-degree, let's see, his Mercury falls near your Jupiter, your natal Jupiter, because the transiting, his Jupiter's on your North Node, but your Jupiter is near his Sun. And he's got a lot of Pisces, and he's got a couple Scorpios, so he's pretty deep feeling. And he's also got a Jupiter in Cancer and Uranus in Virgo. He's a worker, and does he work for himself?
No, he doesn't.
He wants to.
But he doesn't.
Yep.
Yeah, he does. He wants to.
Yeah, he does, because he's my generation. Uranus, Pluto conjunct, and you are too. So, that generation's like, tell me what to do. I'm the authority. I know what I'm doing. And then, you're really tricky because right now Pluto in Capricorn is almost that exact degree in trying to go Uranus conjunction. So all the children born in the early 60s, even to the late 60s, he's got it actually within 3 degrees because they're so slow moving. It lasted most of the 60s, and that was all the upheaval in the 60s, the change of mentality around, I can do what I want, I'm going to go off and be myself. And, I mean, I think of it that way because the 50s were very much like we're all in this together after the war, and the 60s were like, rock and roll. So let's see what else. He has Venus in Aries at 19, and where's your Venus is in Leo, or your Mars is in Leo, which means his Venus trines your Mars. And you have a lovely fire trine going on. You have Venus at 10 in your natal chart and Mars in Leo, so those are trine, and he completes that grand trine with his Venus, so that's really lovely. See, Mars in Scorpio. Yeah, he's got a lot of water, and you've got some fire and air. So the air part of your chart may be at odds at times. Like, he might be a little too emotional for you at times, but overall, there's a lot of nice stuff going on. Let me see where your Saturns are. So his Saturn is at 0 degrees Aries. So interestingly, even though it's at 0 degrees Aries, it's really close to the end of Pisces, and that's the energy that was very prominent before he was born. And so he may feel a little dreamy, and he may not necessarily follow through with some drive. I mean, he does. He's on the cusp of it. Like, he wants to be assertive and do his own thing within his career, but he might still have a hard time really manifesting some of what he wants to do. And honestly, your Jupiter near his Mercury, you have a very strong connection and intuitive understanding, and you could almost sometimes encourage like the dreamy quality, like the inactivity. And let's see, Neptunes are really good though, and his Neptune falls in your house of marriage, which is really cool. And Mars is in your 12th house, so he brings out some deeper psychological things for you, but also things related to work. And Yeah. So there's some good stuff with that one. I like it. I think that there are some issues, but I think there are a lot of positive things in it that kind of intrigue me. So
okay,
keep
good.
with it.
You know what's going to happen? So we're going to get really involved in this relationship, and then the guy who left me is going to come back, at that same time.
Right, and then you'll be a different person, and you'll have grown, and you won't necessarily want the same things. So it's how it works. And you know why they do that? They do it because when you've lost the attachment, you're pretty much, you leave a vacuum, and then you've replaced it with someone else, and that's like, oh no, FOMO, fear of missing out, I want her back.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, keep them around for a little bit. See what it does, where it goes. It's really interesting. Your Mars and Venuses. So and the Neptunes, like that, you have the similar ideal. What you want out of life. So it's right near your marriage house. So I'd be kind of curious. I can't really have time to look any further into the other aspects, but it looks really cute. Okay, you're welcome. Thanks. Thanks for the call.
I'll keep in touch. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah,
Thank
please
you.
do. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Okay, I'm going to take one last call, and it's 917. Hi, 917. How are you?
Hey, hello. My name is Nisa.
Nisa? Is that with an N?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I have a friend named Nisa. So you're the second Nisa I've heard of. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So hang on one second.
Okay.
Just a second. I'm just putting in your information so I can call you up again. Okay, what's your birthday?
January 28, 73.
Okay. And where were you born and what time?
In the Netherlands. In Amsterdam.
Amsterdam? Okay.
Yeah. At 11:14 a.m.
Okay. All right. Let's see if my computer holds January 28, 1973. It did. I'm so happy on it right.
Yay.
You have to put it in twice sometimes. Okay. What can I tell you? What would you like to know?
What do you see any changes in my work situation? Am I going to change jobs? Am I going to stay here for a while?
Okay. Well, Saturn's transiting your house of education. So have you been taking extra courses?
I'm doing a lot of education. I'm doing a lot of it.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
So
I'm doing one this weekend. I'm doing on Fridays.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. So let's see, January 1440. On the 30th of January 2019, Saturn hits your midheaven. And within, you're definitely on the path to changing your career because Saturn will be at your midheaven, like I said, at the beginning of next year. And then it hits Pluto at the end of the year. And so the whole time it'll retrograde back into some educational stuff again, but you are on the path to moving forward with it. And kind of like the last caller, Saturn and Pluto join together in your house of career. So it's going to really trigger that. And Venus, Jupiter at that point, you have Venus at 20 Capricorn and Jupiter at 24. So you're going to also have, it's going to be an amazing year for you. It's a lot of change. It's a career. It may be a new love, better money, opening up, expansion, travel, all sorts of good things coming for you. And it's going to start probably 2020, like all this shift that I was talking about before, about 2020 and Pluto going to Saturn. That hits your Jupiter and your Venus. So it's like a very positive change in your life for the good and major shift that you've been looking for. And it happens in about a year and 3 months. So that's really awesome. And definitely what you're doing now with taking the classes, like Jupiter is in trine or has been in trine, I should say. It's kind of moving along to Saturn in the house of education. But right now, Venus is trining it, and then Mercury and Sun will be trining it. And also Venus's retrograde will be, it won't quite square, so that's good. So you're going to kind of stay in a broad sextile to Saturn with the Venus. And so that means that there's a little bit of shift, but there's some issues you definitely have to go over with. Like, I don't know if you're married now, but there's definitely some issues around relationships or partnerships, and you're going to be refining what you want out of that. And then Jupiter, are you
I'm not married. No, not at all.
Okay, well, Jupiter is moving into your when it goes into Sagittarius in November. So that's going to be an amazing. I think that you're going to have a partner come in. I definitely see some good stuff. You got a really good year and a half coming in. It's like boom. I'm not saying it's about difficulty, but it's definitely really, really good. And then Uranus, when Uranus gets back into Taurus, it goes into your first house, and I think you're going to feel really free around love and not feel like you have to commit to any one person. You're probably going to get a few opportunities with them, more than just one. And Jupiter and Sagittarius hits your Moon Neptune conjunction in your house of commitment, and when it leaves. Not even when it leaves, like next year in late summer, early fall, Jupiter and Mars at the last degrees of commitment in Sag. So you're probably going to have a new person come in who's either very adventurous from another culture or long distance, but he's going to be someone who really grabs your attention and could turn into something more serious when Jupiter hits Capricorn. So it's going to be a lot of fun-loving energy coming. You got a lot of good energy in your chart. It's really cute.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I applied for a job last Thursday in a hospital, and I would love to have it. It's a per diem position. I could get into a hiring situation next year in January if it's a good fit.
Oh, wow.
So, but it is part-time.
You do have Mercury in your house of work right now and Sun, and so the Sun's going to join Mercury here in about a little over a week, and so that is pretty good. Mercury will go retrograde, like I said, in the near future in mid-November. So there'll be some energy about going back over what you're doing within the work environment and it'll hit your Uranus. So it may not be a real long-term situation, but in the short term, it looks interesting. Will teach you and have you connect to what you need to connect with to go through this next period. So, I think that, the Libra energy, because you're going to question it, and you're going to wonder if it's really what you want and the path you want, because that's what that's what Venus is going to do. Venus goes back out of Scorpio into Libra, and then it's going to be about, is this where I want to be? Is it not? I think what's going to happen, honestly, is you are coming up on meeting someone, and that could change the whole story. So I'm just know that there's stuff coming in for you. Mercury's going to hit your Uranus. There's a lot of electrical energy with that. It's about ideas. It's about electronics, and it's about connecting to other people on an idea level and bouncing around concepts. So I think that if you do take it, it'd be really good for expanding your voice and expanding your ideas and what you want to do with that situation. But for you have Libra in the house of partnership. Libra is partnership in the sixth house of work. So there's opportunities coming. There are opportunities to look into. I mean, right now everybody is kind of awakening to the fact that they can't keep doing what they've been doing because it doesn't make them happy anymore, and moving on to doing what they truly want to do, whether it involves others or corporations. But a lot of people are looking to be independent. So I would say for you, if it's a health industry, look to the possibility of doing contract work. And it's like a good compromise. Like you can still connect to corporations but still work for yourself. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I also applied to a school and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have Saturn there for a little while longer, like I said, until early next year. So if you're going to go to school, now's the time, if you can, for the fall semester. I know it's a little late for fall semester, but come next year, come January, you're off to the races. There may be a little bit of opportunity with Saturn retrograding next year to do something with education, but Saturn moves into your house of career initially.
I meant like a position in a school.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, if you're
work there,
get into school Saturn in the career sign and the career planet in the house of education. Absolutely, you could do that. Yeah,
maybe
the ninth house is education. Yeah, so
we'll
I'm
see
sorry, I
what
didn't
happens.
understand. All right.
Yes, we'll see.
Well,
Okay,
if
thank
you
you.
want to look further into
Thank
it, let
you.
me know. I give readings
Yeah.
privately too. Okay? Well, you
Thank
take care and have a lovely week. Thanks for calling. Good talking to you.
Thank you. Have a lovely week.
You too. Bye-bye. And that's the show for this week. Thank you so much for listening. We'll have another wonderful subject experiencing next week. Keep an eye out on Facebook. You can follow AstroEnergy and get all the updates for the show information. Take care. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.